The name of the presentation is the Public-Private Partnership that made it possible to operate in the blue ice fields in the Patriot Hills. Antarctica is closer to South America than any other continent in the world. Therefore, air operations from here are faster, cheaper, and safer. The flight time for Hercules is 2.5 hours from Punta Arenas to Presidente Frei in King George Island, where the largest concentration of bases of the various countries with Antarctic Programme is located. Because of this and the frequency air and sea traffic across to the Drake Sea, Frei Base is covered by extensive meteorological information. This information is vital for flight to Antarctica, as the atmospheric conditions are absolutely inclement due to phenomena such as fog, white vision, and katabatic winds. As a result of the unforgiving weather condition, many years passed before we had safe air communication with the interior of Antarctica. From that first Chilean Air Force submarine flight carried by a ship in 1947, the next big step was the construction of the airstrip at then President Frei Antarctic Meteorological Center. From the beginning of its operation, this runway became the gateway to Antarctica by air and facilitate year-round communication with Chilean crew and other countries based in that sector. Thus, on 12 February 1980, two Twin Otter aircraft landed there in flight from Punta Arenas. A month later, in commemoration of the 15th anniversary of the Chilean Air Force, we landed the first heavy transport aircraft and institutional Hercules on King George Island. Using the March runway as a bridge, the Air Force undertook the conquest on the South Pole by air. For many years and several times during each season, we took off from Punta Arenas into another aircraft with turboprop engine equipment with wheels and ski, landed and marched and continued to advance farther and farther into the interior of the continent. On this Antarctic penetration flight, the objective was the locate site to land on a ski, set and camp and moving on. And Hercules regularly dropped supply and fuel be parachuted, ready for the next leg. Our goal was to establish an airway from Punta Arenas to South Pole. Despite the difficult, the objective was achieved with what was called Polar Star Operation under the command of General Mario López Tovar. The historical first flight was completed towards the end in November 1984. The Chilean Air Force has reached the South Pole. The flight distance was 4,626 kilometers over an inhospitable territory of unpredictable weather. Several stops were necessary to resupply and rest the crew. Food and fuel, as on the penetration flight, were dropped by parachute. Due to the short range of the Twin Otter, it was necessary to set and for intermediate camps, which involve a costly, complex, and large-scale logistical deployment, but we succeed in demonstrating Chile's acquired capability to move in Antarctica. It is worth noting that along the route in the flight in pursuit of our conquest of the South Pole by air. The Chilean Air Force was supported by bases in the United Kingdom and the United States. We often used their facility on Adelaide Island, Rothera, Fossil Blast, Simpley, and Amundsen Scott. Thanks to the joint effort, this airways is today a recognized reality and included in the Chilean Aviation Manual. Adelaide Island deserves special mention. The Adelaide Station was donated by Her Majesty the Queen of the Chilean government in 1984. From our experience with the flight to the South Pole, we learned that for flight to the interior in the continent to be economically sustainable, they must be much shorter, which at that time was beyond our means. We had the appropriate aircraft, but not the landing site for them. So we momentarily discarded the idea and kept our eye open for new possibilities, which in fact presented themselves in the most unusual ways. In 1983, two American climbers, Frank Wells and Dick Bass, decided to climb Mount Benson, the highest peak in the Antarctica, for which they organized a self-sufficient expedition with Captain Gilles Kirchhoff, a Britannic pilot with a proven track record of Antarctic flight. The plane was to take off from Punta Arenas in a tri-turbo aircraft and refueling in Antarctica, for which they requested the support of the Chilean Air Force. It was the first time they had undertaken this adventure, and we supported them by repeating an operation in which we already had experience, dropping fuel by parachute, a mission that was successfully accomplished. After an successful attempt in 1984, the following year, they organized a new expedition, no more ambitious. They flew in a twin otter carrying climber and passenger. After their first experience, these entrepreneurs come to the same conclusion as the Air Force. The flight had to be much shorter. So it was imperative to find places to land with long-range wireless aircraft. With this in mind, in 1986, the company Adventure Network International asked for our support to explore the blue ice field as possible landing strips in order to bring tourists and scientists to the interior of Antarctica. For the Chilean Air Force, there was the big opportunity. For a sign, our #1 leader authorized the Air Force to contribute to the exploration with fuel, logistical support, and rescue commitment in case of need. Over time, extensive information has been gathered about the blue ice shelves in discussion with Captain Kirchhoff, and especially with Dr. Sweetenbank, who is early in 1977 had begun to consider this area as possible runways for heavy aircraft, but unlocated large tracts of blue ice around the Ellsworth Mountain and believed them to be feasible for this purpose. So it was in the Austral summer of 1986, on behalf of Adventure Network International and the Chilean Air Force, Dr. Sweetenbank and Captain Kirchhoff set off from Punta Arenas on reconnaissance flight and returning with good news. Among the exploring area of Wilson Nunataks and Patriot Hills, the most suitable was Patriot Hill in latitude 80 degrees south, 3,000 kilometers from Punta Arenas, but the ice surface condition analysis and days Wheeled to another landing showing that the surface was sufficiently solid to withstand normal operation of conventional aircraft. With this knowledge, in 1987, Adventure Network International landed at Patriot Hills with a Douglas DC-4 aircraft and set up its field camp, a set of 10 that in the winter were buried in the snow. In 1989, this aircraft was replaced by a DC-6, was higher speed, pressurized cabin, and reserve gear enabled into the shorten the trip despite the bad weather and facilitate the landing. And in 1993, by Hercules Il-382 and was made in flight on 21 November 1993. This aircraft, which does not require refueling and has reversing system that allow a safe and comfortable landing, shortened the trip to 6 hours. The joint effort made by the Chilean Air Force and Adventure Network International in 1986 bore great fruit. In November 1996, the Antonio Unegana base of the Chilean Antarctic Institute was inaugurated, and 2 years later, and on 7 December 1999, it was possible to inaugurate the Teniente Parodi Polar Station. The Parodi Station was dismantled in 2013 and reassembled in the Union Glacier sector under the name of Union Glacier Joint Scientific Polar Station, the southernmost in Chile. Currently, flights to the station are made in Hercules and Twin Otter. The runway at the Glacier and the Union Glacier is the CSGC aerodrome, certificated by the Dirección General de Aeronáutica Civil and part of the Chilean Aerodrome and Airport System, but operate and maintained by the Antarctic Logistic Expedition Company. The Air Force Hercules covered the Punta Arenas Union Glacier route in 6 hours. 12-hour round trip crossing areas of difficult meteorology where unexpected phenomena can lengthen the flight time. Crosswind can prevent landing, and it is even possible to have to avoid the flight and return before reaching the destination. For the Twin Otter, there is a snow runway located at the side of the station, outside the Blue Ice area. In 2002, ANI was acquired by Antarctic Logistics and Expedition, who are constantly modernizing their facility and equipment and have a close relationship of cooperation and mutual support with the Chilean Air Force, with Chile being the most benefits by the development of technology that allows us to better fulfill the SAR mission in a vast area of our responsibility. From the facts described above, there is no doubt that the milestone that marked a before and after in our Antarctic history was the discovery of the Blue Ice as an airstrip in the interior of the Antarctic continent. With the mystery that drove us in this exploration, the Air Force shared risk, cost, and result with private enterprise, without which nothing of what we have today in the interior of Antarctica will have been possible. The proof is there for the all to see. First, the Teniente Parodi Polar Station and its airframe, which today is already history, now in Union Glacier with an airfield that allows direct flight from Punta Arenas in heavy aircraft where public-private cooperation continues to be fundamental for the success of both parties, where logistics extend all its effort to make cooperative scientific research a reality as a fundamental principle of the Antarctic Treaty. The key messages, sorry. Antarctic logistics is extremely challenging. Cooperation between Antarctic program was fundamental, a situation that still continues today. In the case of Chile, the support with the private company was fundamental to operate in the ice field with heavy aircraft. To this day, we still maintain that cooperation. Risks and costs and benefits are charted and fundamental aspects of the Antarctic Treaty. And finally, the use of the ice runway play a key role in air connectivity. Thank you so much.